Hey guys, what's up? So this week I'd planned on making my first wash to use for a cleaning run. Problem is, when I went to pull out all my brewing gear, I realized that I'd committed a cardinal sin. I had not cleaned anything before putting it away. So I really need to clean my gear, and I need to clean it well. I figured this was a really good time to have a quick talk about cleaning and sanitizing. Welcome Distiller everyone. This is the channel all about chasing the craft of home distillation and making it a legitimate hobby. So if that's something you're into, have a look around, check everything out. This may just be the channel for you. Have a think about subscribing. Alright guys, so I've just had a look at the footage now that I'm pretty much done recording this video and I don't have time to re-record it. It is really cold here tonight. So I was wearing a jacket. I didn't realize how much of a pain in the ass it's going to be for the audio. I'm sorry guys, I won't do it again. So today we're talking about cleaning and sanitation, and I should just point out that when I say cleaning, I'm talking about fermenters, boilers, mash tuns, and boil pots. So I know that cleaning and sanitation for distillers is a lot more loose than it is for brewers. And like you probably know, I am more of a brewer at this point in time than a distiller. So for those of you that think that brewers are absolutely batshit crazy and totally anal when it comes to this stuff, you can probably just listen to the summary that I'm about to give. But if you want to learn a little bit more and get a little bit more geeky about this stuff, the rest of the video is probably for you. Here's the quick overview for people that don't want to geek out about this. These are my recommendations as a brewer, and I know that these things work really well. First up, you're gonna want a chemical. Trust me, it's just going to be easier. The very best product on the market right now, and I don't think there's really much discussion about this, is PBW. If you want to go a little bit cheaper than that, you could go for something like OxyClean or even Napisan. Make sure you're using the unscented version for Napisan though. And if you want to go the next step and sanitize as well, once again, the best thing on the market is by 5-Star. It's called StarSan. If you haven't used it, you need to check it out. The super quick breakdown for using PBW or whatever other cleaner you decide to go with. Use it at the temperature and the concentration that it recommends on the packet. Leave it for a little bit of time if you can. I'd suggest probably 30 minutes to an hour for decent sort of normal cleaning. For something a little bit more serious, you're going to want to soak it for 24 hours, but that's not necessary for most cleaning. And then you're going to want to do some light scrubbing, and I'm literally talking about using like a sponge or a cloth. You don't want anything too abrasive. After you've finished scrubbing it down, give it a nice rinse, and then if you want to, you can go on to sanitizing. If you decide to sanitize, like I said, I really don't think there's an argument. Just use StarSan, it's the best thing there is. Once again, use it at the recommended concentration, mix up a solution, put it into whatever you're trying to sanitize, give it a good slosh around, and you need to leave it on there. Like if you leave it on there for 30 seconds, you're absolutely sorted. It doesn't need long at all. Drain it out. Do not rinse it. Don't fear the foam. There's nothing bad in that foam that is going to hurt your fermentation. In fact, it actually kind of acts as a yeast nutrient. Do not fear the foam. So if you just wanted the quick down and dirty tips for cleaning and sanitizing, that's about it. You're done. If, however, you want to go a little bit deeper and geek out on this a little bit, find some more optimal techniques or strategies, stick around. Okay guys, so the first thing to point out, getting a little bit more geeky, is the difference between cleaning and sanitizing. They are two totally different things, and no matter what the bottle that you've picked up at your local homebrew store or wherever you got it from will tell you, there's nothing that can effectively do both in the same step. Cleaning is physically removing the different types of soils that build up on your equipment, either from the brewing process, deposited by the water, or through external sources. Sanitizing, on the other hand, is killing stuff. literally killing all the little things that can be hiding everywhere. And for us as brewers and distillers, the most important things I'm talking about are bacteria and yeast. I guess when you just glance at most of your gear, whether it be stainless or plastic or even glass, everything looks smooth, it looks relatively clean, but there are actually a bunch of small little holes and gaps all over the place. Sanitizers aren't going to do a particularly good job of removing that soil, no better than water most of the time. So you really need a cleaner to get that soil out. Sanitizers can also only kill what they can get to. So if there's soil in the way, it's going to render your sanitizer somewhat ineffective at best. So all of this leads to what I said before, which is you can't clean with a sanitizer and you can't sanitize with a cleaner. It's a two-step process. So for the cleaning, there's really four main aspects that affect how effective it is or how hard it is. The first is the chemical and its concentration. The second is the temperature that you're operating at. The third is the amount of time. And the fourth is the amount of effort, read elbow grease, that you put into it. So first up is the chemical. And like I said before, really there is no discussion around this in the brewing world. At least PBW is just the best. It is a little bit pricey though, so I totally understand if you want to go with the other products. I've used some of the knockoffs, I guess, before, and I've also used Nappy San. Both work really good, but PBW really is the best. It's so effective because it's specifically designed for this type of cleaning. It uses oxygen to clean, it uses a surfactant or a wetting agent, which really helps, and it's also alkaline. The second part of the chemical is the concentration, and like I said earlier, it is important to actually measure and use the concentration that is stated on the bottle or on the box. The reason for this is if you don't use enough, you're being ineffective and you're not cleaning as well as you can. Using too much is a little bit silly because more is not better. It doesn't clean more effectively, and basically you're just throwing money down the drain. So second is temperature, and once again you want to use these things at the temperature that's stated as the optimal range on the bottle or box whenever you can. If you go at a lower temperature, generally the only drawback is time. It'll just be a little bit less effective and take a little bit longer. PBW is best right around the sort of 40 to 50 degrees Celsius mark. Don't use it way up around 100 degrees Celsius near boiling. You run the risk of dropping the surfactant out of solution, effectively splitting the chemical, I guess, and you can end up with a nasty gunk that's really hard to clean up. The third thing is time. The longer you leave whatever you want to clean soaking in the solution, the easier it is going to be to clean when you get to scrubbing it. This does sort of work on diminishing returns though. I think sort of 30 minutes to an hour is probably the most effective amount of time. You're still going to use a little bit of wiping and scrubbing, but you're going to make up for that rather than having to wait overnight. Overnight's cool for really soiled stuff. If you like for me, I haven't cleaned my stuff in ages, I'm going to soak it overnight. But you do reach a point where the PBW isn't creating oxygen in that solution anymore, so its effectiveness is going to start falling off really quickly at around about the 24-hour mark. So all in all, it's pretty easy. Do you want to spend time waiting and letting it soak, or more time scrubbing? And the fourth thing is effort. How much effort you want to put into scrubbing it, how much elbow grease you want to use. Like I said before, you're going to want to stay away from using anything too abrasive. I guess on stainless for distilling, sure, go for it. But I would suggest even for your plastic fermenters, stick to a sponge or a cloth. Using PBW or OxyClean or Nappy San, if you let it sit for any amount of time at any temperature warmer than room temperature, you shouldn't need to scrub it at all. Doing so is going to put little scratches and even sometimes gouges into your fermenters, and that is going to make it harder to clean and really hard to sanitize later on. Once you're done with the cleaning, don't forget to rinse it. If you're using PBW, you don't need to be too crazy about this. A decent rinse is going to do the job. Just a quick note on using PBW on copper. I know obviously a lot of you are going to have copper. It is totally safe on copper. It will clean organic soil off the copper really well. Probably not going to be the best thing for polishing copper, as it is basic, not acidic. Okay guys, so I know that in the distilling world the idea of sanitizing stuff seems a little bit crazy to a lot of you, and that's cool. I think personally, just because of my background, I'm not going to be able to not sanitize, especially my fermenters. If however you're wanting to know how to, it really is a very simple process. Like I said, Star San is just the best. It's cheap for the amount that you use, and it is the safest, easiest product on the market. I know some people use iodine and some people use bleach. Personally, I don't think there's even a comparison. I'm not going to get into it now because I know probably not a lot of people are even watching this, but if for whatever reason you guys want me to go into those details, I will. I could talk about Star San for hours. I love the stuff and I love geeking out about it, but I'm going to keep this to a bit of a minimum just because I know the audience. It's really important to use it at the concentration marked on the bottle. Star San depends on a pretty specific pH to work effectively, and messing with that concentration can throw a bunch of things out, but that's one of the most important. So make sure you're using it at the concentration it's meant to be used at. So this stuff's effective on pretty much any hard surface, so pretty much anything we're using for distilling is going to fall into that category. Just keep in mind too that it is the liquid itself that sanitizes. It's not creating gases or anything, so it can only sanitize what it touches. Make sure that it gets everywhere. Put it into a fermenter, seal the lid, and if you can, shake it around. Another good tip is to pop it into a spray bottle and spritz it onto any surface you want to sanitize. It works really quickly. Once a surface is covered, literally within 30 seconds, you are totally good to go. The actual time's a whole lot faster than that. The owner of 5 Star talks about that himself, but he says he can't make those claims officially. But it's fast. What's 30 seconds of your life? It's nothing. You can store the solution once you mix it up if you want to. Just be aware that, like I said, that pH is really important, and if the pH changes as it's stored, it will be ineffective. Probably the easiest way to tell most of the time if it's still good is just to check that it's nice and crystal clear. If it's gone cloudy, it's definitely no good. Chuck it. Keep it in an airtight container. That will increase the longevity quite a bit. So cover any surface that you want to sanitize in the Star San solution. Tip it out. Don't wipe it off. Don't rinse it off. There's nothing in that is going to be nasty in your fermentation at all. You can literally drink the stuff if you want to. It's kind of got a nice lemony zest to it. And like I said before, it actually acts as somewhat of a yeast nutrient in the fermentation as well. Not that I would specifically use it for that. It will foam up when it's agitated, and that foam can be quite persistent. For the distillers out there that haven't had much contact with the brewing world, you should totally check out keg snakes. They're pretty awesome. Google it. But I promise you, like I said before, don't fear that foam. Don't rinse it out. Don't wipe it out. Just tip out any liquid that you can. Alright guys, I'm almost certain that no one is listening to this anymore, but I had to do a bit of a talk about Star San. Like I said, I really do love the stuff. It's amazing. Alright guys, so thanks if you're still watching for geeking out with me a little bit. Thanks a bunch for watching the videos. Thanks for all the support and all the awesome comments I'm getting. I really appreciate it. If you like the video, like it. If you really like the video, have a think about subscribing. And I'll see you next time when I actually make a wash for my cleaning run.